Chris, anytime you have a chance to come back to Fort Wayne, come back to Northeast Indiana and pay it forward a little bit, how much pride do you take in that?
I take a lot of pride in it. You know, the game of basketball has given me so much. To be able to come back, host a camp, and, pour into these young kids, show them the love of the game that I have and try to pour that into them and see if they can take that. And if they want to, try to keep working on their game to see if they can have the same kind of path that I had.
I know one thing you absolutely love is defense, being a former Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year yourself. How much or how hard is it to get these kids to buy into playing on that side of the floor?
It's funny, today we had a couple defensive stations in the morning for the younger kids, and I was like, come on, man, let's go. And they're like, I don't like to play defense. And I was like, well, you're going to have to play some defense. But, you can get them, you can talk a little bit of trash to them and get them a little angry a little bit so they try a little bit harder. But it's all in good fun, and they've listened pretty well so far, so hopefully we can keep going and they can really be in a better place than where they started.
Well, I'll tell you what, I feel like it isn't hard to get these kids to buy in on defense. Just looking at what OKC did in the finals just a few weeks ago. Hey, when you take a look at your basketball journey, some of the kids that have grown up through the years and have come through Northeast Indiana to go on to playing high-level college basketball, how much does that excite you or take pride in the fact that you were a part of that and that kids can see role models like you, hey, we can grow up and maybe be one of those players one day?
I think I take some pride in it for sure. It's just showing kids that are from this area that anything is possible, right? You can have big dreams. You can have dreams of playing in the Big Ten. You can have dreams of playing in the NBA. You can have dreams of playing overseas, whatever that may be. All of that is attainable, but at what price, right? Are you going to put in the work that's necessary to differentiate yourself, to separate yourself from everybody else, to get those opportunities? And if you're willing to put in the work, really anything is attainable.
Well, speaking on your Boilermakers, Matt Painter just continues to do a fantastic job building that program year in, year out. The fact that he is doing so with guys who are willing to stick with this program for 2, 3, 4 years, what does that say about the fact that Purdue has been able to maintain this level of consistency despite the fact that you have this era of the transfer portal and NIL?
I think it just shows a level of loyalty, trust, and when you win, that helps too, right? Coach Painter did a good job, I think, of kind of fundraising himself a little bit. He knew this day was going to come, and he needed to keep Braden, Fletch, and TKR, as well as retain as many of the other role players as he could. We had a couple people leave, but we also gained a couple people too. So it's going to be a really exciting time. Purdue basketball is in, a really good place. I'm really excited for this season. I'm going to try to make as many games as I can.
I know Purdue brought in a couple of acquisitions this offseason. Omar Mayer, the European kid, a lot of folks are excited about him. I know you tweeted something, though. Pump the brakes on the expectations a little bit. Just for the Purdue fans, for a kid to come overseas, how big of an adjustment do you think that is, or just trying to temper those expectations as he gets settled into Purdue?
I think obviously he's played well, right, with the U19. He's going to go play with the U20, I think, in Israel. But there needs to be a level of reality, right? He's playing well. He's going against 19-year-olds. He's not going to be going against that competition. Everybody is going to play, is going to be at that level or exceed it, and he's going to have to come. But also on the flip side of that is the adjustment of playing Purdue style, offensively and defensively. They run a bunch of sets. He's got to learn all of that, adjust to not being the guy. He's not going to have that responsibility. That's going to be on Braden, on Fletcher, on TKR. He's going to be a role player, and that's going to help him guide maybe in next year, the year after, right, when he'll have the ball and he'll be able to run the show. But it's going to be a stepping stone process, but we kind of need to harness those expectations a little bit. He may have glimpses where he balls out, but, if he plays well and he doesn't the next game, we need to be okay with that. Everything he gives us is going to be a real bonus, but I think he's going to be a really, really high-level player.
To shift gears just a little bit away from basketball, you're in this next phase of your life right now back in Northeast Indiana. You being a dad of 3 now, you welcomed your latest daughter in December, How much of an adjustment is that, just being a girl dad of three young ladies?
I am a proud girl dad first. You know, I obviously wanted a boy. I wouldn't change it now. So I'm very blessed. You know, an amazing wife, 3 beautiful girls, and you know, getting to teach them sports in a different way, right? Girls basketball is a little bit different than boys. So having that is an adjustment, but it's been a lot of fun. But man, I'm just blessed. You know, raising the kids here in Fort Wayne, working here in Fort Wayne, you know, pouring into these kids at a camp like this. You know, it's all about impact, right? And how much impact we can have on our own family, but then on the other kids as well.
Hey, from one father to another, that's definitely special. One last thing for me, if there's one thing that you want these kids to take away this week, what is that?
I don't know if it's just one. I mean, first of all, I want them to learn lessons, life lessons through the game of basketball, right? We talked a lot about listening, about respect, about discipline, about adversity, right? Everything's not going to go your way, especially in life, right? On the basketball floor too, basketball is a game of mistakes. You're going to turn it over. There's going to be adversity. How do you handle that? But then I just want them to compete and have fun. That's the biggest thing.